Hello.
Thank you so much for taking time.
Once he was written about for his private life. When and whom would Prince Albert of Monaco marry? Today, the head of the Mediterranean Principality is in the news for different reasons. He's established himself as a key player in protecting the environment. Prince Albert has been explaining to Euronews why trying to save planet Earth has become a major part of his life.
Your Serene Highness, thank you for talking to Euronews.
Thank you.
Since becoming Monaco's sovereign, you've earned yourself the nickname the Green Prince. And I'm wondering, with so many worthwhile causes out there, why did you pick the environment as a priority?
Well, you know, I've been involved for a number of years with my father and with the Principality, with the state, and in different initiatives. At the Second Earth Summit in 2002 in Johannesburg, that's when I really felt that there was a need to start doing more in that area. So when I took over from my father, I made that a priority, not only for Monaco as a state, for Monaco as a city-state, for the Monegasque people, but for myself personally. And that's why I also created the foundation that bears my name and that is totally devoted to environmental issues and trying to be an actor on the ground.
Well, no one can accuse you of doing things by half. You've signed the Kyoto Protocol, you've trekked to the North and South Poles. Why were those trips to the environmental front line, as it were, so important for you?
Well, I think it was important to be able to experience things personally and to be able to go to these very troublesome areas, if you want, in environmental terms, and these very fragile areas, and that are clear indicators of climate change. And so that's why I went to the Arctic. Also and I try to link that with the 100th anniversary of my great-great-grandfather, Prince Albert I's Arctic expeditions. And then last January I went to Antarctica.
Now, when it comes to being an environmentally friendly prince, you've got a bit of competition, haven't you?
Well, Prince Charles?
Absolutely.
Well,
yes.
It's not a competition, it's a partnership.
Well, this is what I'm thinking. Surely two princes would be better than one. Have you ever thought about putting your heads together on a joint project?
Well, we have talked about it already. It's hard to combine both our schedules to have a substantial debate about this, but we have. We are studying right now the possibilities of collaborating.
Now, I don't know about the Prince of Wales, but certainly in your case, love of nature and the environment seems almost to be in your DNA, something of a family tradition. You've mentioned your great-great-grandfather, and your father, the late Prince Rainier, he inspired you, didn't he, in your environmental awakening by giving you a rather unusual map back in the 1970s.
Yes, absolutely. It was a map that was issued by National Geographic in 1970, so almost 40 years ago. And if you see it and read the text, it's entitled How Man Pollutes His World. The issues that it talks about are still the same issues of today, of not only pollution issues and waste management issues, but deforestation, overfishing.
This map's still hugely important to you, isn't it? I read somewhere that you travel with it on some of your expeditions.
Well, I traveled with a smaller version of it, not the whole thing. It was in my room for many years, and I obviously I looked at it intently when I first got it, but then I sort of forgot about it. It was there on the wall, but it's only in recent years that I said, I read that somewhere else before, and it was right there all the time.
I know a cause very close to your heart is the protection of bluefin tuna. Why is that so important?
If we let this species go, well, that's a big gap in the marine ecosystem of the Mediterranean and the southern part of the Atlantic. And that has huge consequences on the food chain and on the entire ecosystem.
Now, when you say the name Monaco, I think for many people labels spring to mind, the most obvious being tax haven. Otherwise, it's often millionaires' playground. And dare I say, you yourself, you were portrayed in the popular press for many years as Playboy Prince. Now, how far do you think the work you're doing with the environment is helping to change that image?
Well, I didn't undertake all of this just as part of an image change. The reality of Monaco has always been a little different than that was portrayed in certain media. It's not just the casinos and luxury tourism, and although that is a very important part of our economy, but it's not the only part. And there's a lot more that's being done in Monaco in scientific terms, in research, in education, and culture.
The tax haven tag remains for obvious reasons.
Well, for obvious reasons, but I think we've been able to deal with that pretty successfully by being off the different lists as far as fiscal information and as money laundering goes. And so I think we've been able to prove that we have gone way beyond that image, although I'm very realistic. I'm sure it's going to cling to us still for a while longer.
We've got the Copenhagen Summit coming up at the end of the year, which seeks to build on Kyoto. The Kyoto Protocol expires in 2012. How optimistic are you that a meaningful decision will be taken in the Danish capital?
I don't know if it's a question of optimism or pessimism. It's a question that we have to have a deal. We have to, as Mr. Ban Ki-moon, Secretary General of the United Nations, says, seal the deal. We cannot afford not to have another text that will be the text of reference for carbon emissions, for quotas for the next generation. So we have to find a compromise.
Just finally, to end on an optimistic note, if there was one piece of advice you could give to people like me, unsuccessful environmentalists, reluctant environmentalists perhaps, something I could do tomorrow that really would make a difference, what would you suggest?
It's just we have to re-examine not only our way of living, but our conception of what quality of life means to us. And we have to move away from a society that's obsessed with consumption and consumerism. And it has to mean something else, and I'm not sure what it has to mean or what it will mean. But we cannot go on the way we're going today.
His Serene Highness, thank you.
Thank you very much.